You've been lied to about desire. They told you it was dirty, dangerous, shameful. They said to suppress it, manage it, ignore it, because it wasn't spiritual enough. But what if they were wrong? What if the very thing you were told to fear is the key to your highest power? Sexual energy is not a distraction from your path. It is the path. The ancient alchemists knew this. In Taoist, tantric, and hermetic traditions, sexual energy was never seen as taboo. It was seen as divine fuel, raw, creative force that, if cultivated, could awaken the body, purify the mind, and even extend life. They called it the waters of life, the sacred fire, the red elixir. It wasn't about lust. It was about transformation. Because sexual energy is more than sensation. It's the original current. It's the first movement of life within your system. And like all currents, it can either scatter or be harnessed. But here's the truth they never taught you. You're leaking it, constantly, through fantasy, through compulsive habits, through unconscious tension. Every time desire arises and you react without awareness, you're not just losing discipline, you're draining life force. And it's not just physical, it's emotional, mental, energetic. Every release without purpose leaves you a little emptier. But what if, instead of leaking, you looped that energy? What if you could transmute that raw desire into strength, clarity, magnetism, without suppressing it? That's what the alchemists discovered. They didn't repress their desire. They refined it. The first step, a shift in perception. Desire is not sin. It's signal. It's not a weakness. It's voltage. And like voltage, it's neutral until you choose how to channel it. You feel it rise in the body, heat in the belly, tension in the spine, agitation in the chest. Most people run from it. Some indulge it. But the alchemist breathes into it, because breath is the bridge. When desire rises, your job isn't to kill it or chase it. It's to hold it. Not in your genitals, not in your fantasies, but in your center. This is where the real practice begins, where energy meets awareness, and what once felt like distraction becomes alchemy. In the next part, we'll explore exactly how to contain, circulate, and refine this energy using the ancient inner fire cycle. But for now, ask yourself, what if the thing you've been told to hide is actually your hidden superpower? Desire is the spark, but breath is the bellows. It turns a flicker into a flame, not for destruction, but for transformation. Most people feel sexual energy as tension, a buildup that demands release. But in alchemy, that tension isn't a burden. It's potential energy waiting to be redirected. To do that, you don't suppress the urge. You catch it. You freeze frame the moment just before release, and you turn inward. The body becomes your crucible. Begin with awareness. When desire rises, don't run from it. Feel it completely. Breathe slow. Relax the muscles of the face, jaw, and belly. Now move your attention below the navel, your lower dantian. This is your energetic furnace. Your job is to pull the energy there, like drawing steam into a pressure chamber. Use the breath. Inhale slowly through the nose, imagining the energy in your pelvis rising gently to the belly, not upward toward the chest, but inward and downward, as if coiling a golden thread into a glowing sphere behind the navel. On the exhale, do not release the energy. Instead, circulate it. Imagine it flowing in a loop from the belly, around the sides of your body, up the spine, over the crown of the head, and down the front of your body, back to the belly. This is the microcosmic orbit, the energy channel used by Taoist immortals to refine sexual energy into life force. As you practice this, you'll notice less urgency to act on impulse, increased focus and clarity, a sense of internal heat, not lustful, but radiant, a subtle but growing magnetism in your presence. This isn't magic. It's biology plus awareness. Your nervous system begins to rewire. Your endocrine system stabilizes. Your aura thickens. You are no longer at the mercy of desire. You are its conductor. But here's the real secret. Every time you complete a loop without leakage, you store energy. That energy builds, not in tension, but in vibration. You walk differently, speak differently. Others feel it. They don't know what changed, but they notice something. This is sexual transmutation. It doesn't kill desire, it liberates it. Desire becomes drive. Drive becomes presence. Presence becomes power. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into what happens when this energy rises through the spine and how to handle the psychological and emotional side effects of true alchemy. For now, breathe, contain, and remember, you are not meant to waste fire. You are meant to wield it. You've contained the fire. You've begun to circulate it. Now, it starts to rise. Not as a force you control, but as a presence you surrender to. As the energy moves up the spine, it doesn't just light up your nervous system. It begins to reprogram your mind. Old thought loops break. Emotions surface, some sweet, some fierce. Memories emerge, not to haunt you, but to be burned off in the heat of awareness. This is why sexual alchemy isn't just physical, it's psycho-spiritual surgery. The Taoists taught, when the sexual fire climbs the spine, it cleanses the house of the soul. And it's true. You may feel heat at the base of your spine, pressure between the shoulder blades, a subtle buzz behind the eyes, moments of euphoria, then stillness. You may even experience waves of sadness or grief, not because something is wrong, but because the energy is melting stored pain in the tissues. Don't run from it. Don't try to interpret it. Just breathe. Hold the posture. Let the dragon climb. And as it does, something ancient begins to stir at the back of the brain, what Taoists called the crystal palace. A cluster of glands, pineal, pituitary, thalamus, that function as your inner transmitter. When sexual energy reaches this zone, it changes form. It becomes light, not metaphorically, neurologically. You may see flashes, colors, inner visions. You may feel as if the center of your skull is glowing. This is what the West calls Kundalini, what the Taoists call Shen, and what the mystics called divine fire. From this point forward, desire no longer feels like something that pulls you outward. It becomes a vertical current, lifting you from the dense to the subtle. You begin to crave silence more than noise, stillness more than stimulation, and presence over pleasure. But here's the secret most miss. You still feel desire. You just don't need to spend it. You learn to let it burn clean, like incense, not wildfire. And when you carry that level of cultivated energy, people feel it. They don't know what it is, but they look at you longer. They listen deeper. They sense something. And if you've made it this far, there's a reason. You're not here to be ordinary. You're here to become a conduit of refined life force, calm, radiant, and sovereign. Subscribe and tap the bell, not because this is a cool technique, but because something in you is waking up. And this is just the beginning. You've awakened the current. You've raised it through the body. Now, the real test begins, because energy alone is not transformation. Integration is. Most people who activate sexual power get stuck here. They feel more alive, but more volatile, more energized, but less stable, because they haven't yet learned to anchor the current in the heart. The heart is the chamber where raw energy becomes refined presence. It's where lust becomes love, where craving becomes compassion, where force becomes field. To bring the fire into the heart, your breath must soften. You're no longer building pressure, you're blending polarity. Masculine and feminine currents begin to balance. Doing and being, focus and flow, tension and trust. Here's the secret. The most magnetic people aren't sexual. They're centered. Their energy is held, but not clenched. Expressed, but not scattered. You can feel their presence from across a room, not because they demand it, because they radiate it. And this is the real alchemy. When sexual energy hits the heart, it becomes attraction without effort. People feel safe around you, but also stirred. They open up without knowing why, because your energy is clean, not manipulative, not needy, just potent. You may start noticing people mirroring your posture or tone, eye contact lasting longer, unexpected emotional intimacy in conversations, a natural sense of trust developing faster. This isn't charm, it's coherence. You've become aligned inside, so the world aligns around you. But don't get lost in it. This power is not for seduction, it's for service. When used with integrity, it heals. When used unconsciously, it distorts. This is why the ancient alchemists taught secrecy, not out of shame, but respect. Because once the energy reaches the heart, your intentions amplify. Whatever you hold inside, fear, love, doubt, clarity, gets broadcast through your field. So choose wisely, not just what you do with your energy, but what you are while holding it. In the next part, we'll explore how to merge this energy with your higher centers, activating intuition, internal command, and full spectrum presence. But for now, breathe into your chest, feel the fire settle, and ask yourself, can you be powerful and tender at the same time? Now the fire is no longer something you feel, it's something you think with. When energy reaches the upper centers, between the eyebrows, behind the eyes, deep within the brain, it begins to reshape consciousness. You don't just see more, you see differently. The mind becomes calm, not because it's empty, but because it's finally aligned with the current. Thoughts are no longer fragmented. They flow in sequences, clean, intuitive, precise. You begin to notice a deeper clarity when making decisions, spontaneous insights without effort, a sense of inner knowing that precedes logic, moments of silence that feel louder than words. This is not intellect. This is energetic intelligence. What the Taoists called Shen, what the yogis called Chit, what mystics called the light of awareness. And it's fueled by the very thing you were told to repress. Sexual energy, once alchemized, becomes perception-enhancing light. It activates dormant faculties in the brain. The pineal gland begins to pulse with magnetism. The nervous system vibrates at a higher coherence. The electromagnetic field around your body expands. Others may not know what changed, but they feel it. You become the one people look to when things get chaotic, not because you shout louder, but because you radiate order. The biggest shift: you no longer seek external stimulation to feel alive. You are lit from within. Your system becomes self-sustaining. Every breath feeds you. Every sensation is sacred. You move through the world like a living tuning fork. But this new perception comes with a new responsibility. Because when you see clearly, you also see through lies, through masks, through egoic games. And now you must decide, will you speak truth or stay silent? Will you shine or shrink? This is the edge where many turn back, not because the energy fades, but because its light reveals everything, including yourself. In the final part, we go into integration, how to protect this power, how to live with it, how to channel it into creativity, leadership, and relationships without leaking a drop. But first, ask yourself, if your mind has been running on low power your whole life, then who would you become if you were finally running at full voltage? Now you know. Sexual energy isn't just desire. It's destiny fuel. You've felt it rise through the body. You've contained it, cycled it, witnessed it cleanse the mind and awaken the heart. Now comes the final step. Integration. Because if you don't root the energy in your everyday life, it dissolves. You can't stay in a cave forever. You have to walk into the world, lit from within, yet grounded. Integration begins with attention. You no longer let your energy go where it's not honored. No more leaking into gossip, drama, or false validation. You recognize that every choice, every word, glance, breath is an energetic transaction. Now, you invest wisely. You build things. You speak with purpose. You create, lead, attract, not from effort, but from alignment. The Taoists called this walking in the Tao. The yogis called it karma yoga. It means living as a conduit of force, not just a seeker of it. Your relationships shift. You no longer seek partners to fill a void. You attract those who match your frequency. Connection becomes deeper, more present, more electric, but with zero chaos. You become magnetic, not because you try, but because you don't need. And here's the paradox. The more you refine this energy, the less you talk about it, and the more you embody it. You no longer chase sacredness, you radiate it. You no longer crave impact. Your presence is impact. You've turned fire into light, lust into clarity, impulse into vision. That's sexual alchemy. And now that you've remembered this power, it's yours forever. No one can take it. No one can give it. It's you, clean, clear, and alive. But one truth remains. Power always asks one thing from its keeper: responsibility. So I leave you with this question. If you now carry the power to transform the world around you, will you actually use it, or keep pretending you're not ready?